G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. My name is Jordan Spencer and we're here to talk about sailing for another week. It has been a huge week and there's so much to talk about. So first off, I've got to welcome my good mate, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
Bar Karatians, how are you? It's good to be here. It's great to be back in my hometown of Sydney, in Drummoyne, actually in Sydney. But when does it stop? When does it stop? We've had a build-up for the Hobart beforehand. We've done a Hobart race. We've done I got lost in Hobart, apparently. And then I've got a delivery home on InfoTrack. I arrive home on Thursday. I have a birthday on Friday. It just continues.
You're a popular man.
Sailing today on the X.
Oh,
just fantastic. Just wonderful.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about, so we better bring our other mate in, Mr. Nick Bice.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Welcome, Nick.
Mate, any longer in Australia, and that voice would be getting a bit more Australiana about it.
Yep.
But it's the last broadcast from the home dock this week after what's been a solid Australiana session.
Good man.
As you mentioned, BP, we had, kicked it all off with Squark, as a matter of fact. You don't get much more Australiana than that. Then we had the Hobart, and then had all your mates that you met at the bar. So you can't get much more Australian than that.
Couple of Australians there.
Yeah, exactly. And
so therefore, that knocker's not too Australian.
No, exactly. But therefore, before I hit the road again, just did what all good dads do and just fed the kids full of sugar today. And now the missus is trying to get them all to sleep, and I can just make sure the door's locked here. But on a serious note, obviously Australia's been burning, and I'm going to introduce my what would we call it? Would call it my effort
Fundraiser?
To bring those areas back in under control. And essentially, the idea is next time you go into a bottle shop and you have a few choices, choose the one that's been most affected by the bushfires.
Yeah.
Well, it's quite a selfish way to do it, actually, because I just need to restock the cellar, and it's a good excuse for me to go down and start checking out the bottle shops, doing a bit of research online. So put it this way, cellar's restocked, and as for the Bar Karatians here in Australia, make sure you do the same.
Yeah.
Fill them up, grab yourself pour yourself a red, grab your favourite beer, and sit back and listen to the fine tones of Bar Karate.
You were getting lost then, weren't you? All right, so Bossy, you're just saying find out which area has been affected, go and buy some of their product and get the money back that way, and you get to benefit as well.
Do it.
Yeah, all right. All right. Well, I've got a great feeling about this episode this week. I'm kind of excited. I do want to say, though, we've had so many sailing regattas on at the moment in Australia, obviously. Over in Europe, you're all freezing and going ice skating or whatever you do. In the US, same thing. Obviously, we're not here to report on results of all of them. That's not really what we're about. We will hunt out anything interesting. Like we found out, I looked up the Heron National results the other day and noticed that everyone in each boat had the same last name. It was pretty much, it looks like it's a rule. If you're going to sail a Heron, you both have to have the same last name. Clearly, Bice, that's your future, and you, BP. You're both going to be doing Heron Nationals against each other.
Mate, can you build a Heron from carbon?
I don't know.
Mate, full pre-preg carbon Heron.
Can I put a soft? Can I
soft wing it?
Soft wing on it?
Can I put a semi on it?
Can you do a soft wing on a gaff rig?
Hey,
they're gaff rigs, aren't they? Remember?
Well, square top, yeah.
Yeah, so you could but the little gaff, you've got the little gaff you got to pull up. Can you do a soft wing on that? I don't know. Anyway,
no, we don't. We could do that. Yeah, we could do that.
Yep, there you go. The other one I noticed, the Opti Nationals here in Australia, young Joel Beechel has a win. Our special guest might actually be able to give us some input on that because he's good mates with that family. Did that little lad have any other choice in life except to be a sailor, do you reckon?
Negative.
Negatory.
That was his exactly. Imagine the Sunday family lunches. What are they talking about?
Yeah, it's just sailing.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations,
Got him.
young Joel. Like, obviously, it just continues. The apple didn't fall far from the tree at all. So we'll use that as a segue to bring in our special guest. What we wanted to try and talk about, because we've been so Aussie-centric for a while, is, one, we wanted to talk to this bloke because he's done some amazing stuff and he's a pretty cool dude. We've been mates for a long, long time. But he's also got some ideas about trying to bring more people into the sport. And I think that's something that we want to do. That's one of the fundamental reasons that bar karate exists, to make it a fun sport and try and bring people in. So first up, let's welcome on board Adrian Finglas. Aids, welcome to bar karate, mate.
Well, thanks, guys, for getting me into bar karate. A bit of a pleasure. And I just thinking, Bicey mentions the heron, and I got a funny story, Bicey, about a carbon heron.
Oh, go on,
Start off
please.
with.
Tell me more.
Well, we had a heron nationals at my old club at Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron many years ago, and a great mate of Jordan and myself, Phil Gray, and Phil's one of the funniest characters you could ever meet. He put up a sign on the notice board, carbon heron for sale, $10,000. And within about half an hour, Phil ended up having a call from the national president of the time that you couldn't make a carbon heron. And so I think we got in a little bit of trouble for putting the sign up on the notice board, but it was all good fun, and we were just trying to get a few kicks out of the heron back then.
Well,
But, it's great to see the heron class. You know, Phil, he's sailing with his son, and a whole bunch of the lads we know, they're all out there sailing with their kids, and that's so important.
That's it. Everyone
I was
does.
going to say, the only carbon heron I know of at the moment got burnt in Port Lincoln about 4 years ago, and it's laying in bits of carbon and in bits of ash at the moment. So,
Right.
yeah, I'll hold on that idea.
Yeah.
I will say, Phil Gray, he sailed with Harry, his little fella Harry, at the Nationals at just been. So there you go, very poignant. You're right onto it. What about young Joel Beach? Go on, Nate.
Yeah, you know, I think that whole concept, guys, of just sailing some of the old Jack Holt boats, you know, the mirror dinghies and the herons, and they just have such traction because they're still cheap. And one of the challenges with our sport at the moment, it's quite costly for families to get involved. And I actually think we need to see a bit of a revolution to get back into the old boats and just get out there and don't worry about what you're sailing, but just go sailing for fun.
Yep.
I think it's really key for our children and our yacht clubs around the nation just to open the arms up and go, you know, welcome to any little boat you can grab your hands on.
All right. Well, let's just give everyone your resume a bit before we go down that path, because that's a big discussion we want to have. So for those who don't know Aids, and you'd be one of the few people on the planet if you don't know him, Taser World Champion, runner-up at the Worlds in Etchells, stack of Australian Championships, trimmer in the America's Cup and the Volvo Ocean Race, former high-performance coach in Queensland and Victoria, Olympic coach, including a gold medal in the Paralympics, head coach now currently at Royal Brighton, all-round icon in our sport. From my memory, changed the way 420s were sailed, sort of the way you came up with a few clever little tuning ideas, and everyone uses those nowadays. And just an all-round passion for our sport and bringing kids in and families into the sport. Did I get anything wrong, Aids, or is that you?
I think you got it spot on, mate. I'm 5'7", not very tall.
You're a little fella.
Just brought a new car.
Yeah, just bought a new car and working at, I think, the best yacht club on the planet. And this amazing place called Royal Brighton Yacht Club.
There we go. It is a nice yacht club.
In sunny Melbourne. It's just a yacht club that's leading the way on how to get families into the sport, you know.
Yeah, cool. So how did you get into the sport, bud? Let's actually go down to that pathway. Let's do you first. How did you get into the sport?
Well, I got into the sport probably like a lot of kids these days do. Had parents who were busy working, trying to make a living, and Mum and Dad went to the local yacht club and dropped me off with a summer program. And I had an old guy from Sandgate Yacht Club up on the north side of Brisbane, and legend of that area, a guy called Tom Verdon. You may know his son, a sailing guy, Spike Verdon from from the Sandgate region. Spike does a lot of deliveries these days. Anyway, old Tommy took me sailing, and I fell in love with it. I think I was about 9. And little bit of trivia from that region was, and that time was the now high performance manager of the British Olympic team, a guy called Mark Robinson. Mark and I grew up at the same yacht club, and I took Mark for his first ever sail in a Sabo dinghy. So I've got the honour of saying I took Mark Robinson for his first sail.
There you go.
I actually saw Mark just before the Hobart. He was cruising up and down the docks of the CYC. It was great to see him.
Yeah, great
little fella. Yeah, that was good.
So you did everything from a young age, mate. You started winning nationals from a young age.
Yep.
You were straight into it, like you actually won in the Sabos from memory, and you started coaching from a young age, like you started coaching some 420 guys when you were sort of still young into it.
Yep.
So you were just, is it natural for you, or you think it's just something you love so much you just were always thinking about it?
Yeah, I think I just am built to coach. I just, from a young age, I just started helping other kids. I was never really that secretive about anything I did. I was always trying to help the younger people around sailing the Sabos, and I started one of my first jobs. I think I was about 15 or 16, and I was already coaching the next generation of Sabo kids, and then the next generation of 420 kids. So I've been teaching, since I was 15 or 16. So it's been a long journey, and the formula's still the same. It's just make it fun and guide the kids into being better people.
Yeah.
I think the sailing aspect it's the second or third thing on the list. But my big focus is just make sure they fall in love with this thing that has given all of us a great life, and that's this crazy sport we call sailing.
Yep. So if, you to go down that coaching path, there must have been somebody that was a big influence in your life early on.
Oh, my God, yeah. Look, one person's got to answer for it all, and he's still coaching to this day, and it's Mike Fletcher. Mike Fletcher.
We knew that was coming.
Yeah. Well, Mike at 86 years old, I saw him the other week at
Never heard of him.
Woollahra Sailing Club, still coaching his heart out, had a group of 29er kids there. And, mate, he was getting on a coach boat like he was 30 still. And,
he's a
Mike is the biggest influence in my career. I got to thank him for that. I've had a great career in coaching, and he's the greatest coach this country's ever had. A lot of people don't realise, but Mike's. I think he's been to 9 Olympics. He's probably got about 7 or 8 medals to his name. Never got a gold, but he influenced generations of sailors in Australia, right from the John Cuneo era, right through to the Matt Belcher era of today. He's had his finger on the system and all the sailors in all those generations, and I think he's a little bit forgotten about in our modern world of coaching, and he's still going strong. And I hope we capture Mike's story before it's too late. He's got a lot to teach our current crop of coaches, and he's got a lot of inspiration still there. So anyone out there, if you want to do something, is go and get a session from Mike Fletcher. The guy's a living legend.
There you go.
I think you say a little bit forgotten about, but I don't think anyone between the age of 40 to 60 years old would say that at all, or 70-year-old, or up to Mike's age for that matter. I mean, he's been influential for anyone at that top end of the sport, not to mention down at his local clubs as well. And how honoured must those kids, at those times be? Would have been called the top coach of Australia, and you're down at your local yacht club on a Saturday morning, and there he is taking you through.
I had the opportunity to spend 2 hours with a young guy called Daniel Links. Daniel's Opti champion who's just stepped into a 420 in the last few months, and his dad, Aaron Links, who's a great skiff sailor. Aaron hired me for a few hours to to go out and have a look at young Daniel, and what a talent he is. He's going great guns with his crew, Jack. And after the day, Aaron said to me, where do I go now and what should I do? And I said, look, the best thing you could do when you finish this national championship is go back to Sydney and go and hire Mike Fletcher for a day and let young Daniel experience what Mike Fletcher's got to offer. And I think it's really special that some of our young children of the sport now can access the knowledge and the experience that Mike, at the age he is, it's sort of once in a lifetime opportunity. So, I'm suggesting to all the young people of Australia, just book in the sessions and go and have some time with the guy, because he's a living legend.
What about you, mate? You're becoming that. Sorry, BP.
I was just going to say he certainly is, and I can actually say that I had the pleasure of sailing in the Balmain Twilight a couple of weeks ago with him on the Adams 10, and it was with D Squared on the cruising Adams 10.
Wow!
It was a wonderful night, and we won. We beat all the great racing to Adams 10, so it's just Mike Fletcher.
There you go.
It was very funny.
Yeah.
So, are you becoming a bit of a legend, Aids, with the coaching side of things? Do you feel like you're leaving your mark?
Yeah, it's interesting, I've totally transformed myself into this, I suppose, tackers, learn to sail coach, just at the grassroots of yacht clubs. That's where all my energy is these days. This week I coached tackers in the morning and I was off with the Etchells of an afternoon. Sometimes it was like coaching tackers with the Etchell guys. But we had, at one stage here at the yacht club, we had the tackers group doing their debrief, and then we had the Etchell guys in the other room doing their debrief, and it was the same information.
Yeah.
I think my big passion is to just try to get as many young people into the sport as we can at this club level around Australia, because, it's tough out there. We're battling other sports. We're battling the private school fees. It's really tough on families to get their kids into sport. And sailing's not as expensive as what the perception is out there in society. And at the club I work at the moment, we're just trying to, knock down all those preconceived ideas that sailing's expensive and it's complicated. And we're just trying to make it super accessible and super fun for the families. And yeah, it takes a lot of work and it's a bit of a journey, but we're having some success with it.
All right, well, let's go into that a little bit, because we keep coming back to that topic. So let's go into it. So about bringing more people into the sport. So to that extent, or to that topic, I believe you've been appointed by Australian Sailing onto a committee to drive growth in our sport. Is that correct?
Yeah, look, I've been asked at this stage by our new president, Daniel Belcher. Daniel's talking about grassroots a lot with Alistair Murray, our vice president. Those guys are lifelong sailors. They understand the bottom end of the sport, and they've been talking to myself and Malcolm Page, our dual gold medalist, and Sarah Blank, dual Olympian, and myself to, maybe have a think about what we're doing at Club Life and how to get more people into this sport. And, I think all clubs are battling. We've got some challenges in the sport and challenges with cost. We've got challenges with volunteers. We've got challenges with, how clubs are run. And so we're going to try to put together a bit of a roadmap to make it easy for clubs and hopefully families access the sport in the future. So we've got a big job in front of us if we get it all off the ground. And, the next few years, I know with Alistair and Daniel, their big mission is to hopefully make clubs vibrant and the sport more accessible to more people.
With that in mind, Aids, and it's obviously, like you say, been a passion of yours for a long time now, and I'm guessing you're implementing a lot of those, you've seen what works and what doesn't work in the clubs that and the states that you've been working in previously. So what's the formula, you think?
Well, Bicey, I was involved with the high performance sort of youth area for a long time, and then came back after the London Olympics back into club life, and I worked at Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron up in Brisbane, and then the Sorrento Sailing Club down at the Peninsula in Melbourne, and now at Brighton. And each club, the formula's the same. It's about fun, colour, movement, and keeping it really simple. Like, I think one of the big problems our sport is we push all these children into a racing format. That kids have to race. And I think there's a lot of kids out there who just want to go sailing for the love of the sport. We have a Sunday morning program at our club, and it's not so much about racing. It's just going out there and being in a boat with your mates. We have a fantastic boat called a Quest that we use in club life. You can fit, 5 and 6 children in it. And, I'm always on to the kids to say, hey, bring your fishing rod, bring your radio, bring your lunch, and we'll go on an adventure. I think the sport at club level has lost that fun and adventure feel to it. We get very pushed in some ways to create this racing scenario, and I just don't think it's the be and end all of the sport.
Are you seeing any relationship between having these kids' parents involved or welcoming or opening the doors of the club to get them down there, to having the kids on the water?
Yeah, it's really important. I think you got to have something for the parents to do. And
now, I'll stop you there. I've got a good idea.
Yep.
There's this thing called Bar Karate Beer that we want to introduce, that we will be introducing. That could get a few parents involved in a few yacht clubs.
Absolutely, mate. And, you touched on it. At our club, we've got, we're blessed. We've got great coffee, great food, great beer, all of that. But, that's one aspect. But, we try to engage the parents into some of the volunteer roles, driving the safety boats, just being the beach marshal, sign on, sign off. I think you need to engage the parents in the sailing community that way, and then gently, hopefully guide them into the sport if they're not already in the sport. But just to have the children sailing's not the answer. We've got to have the whole family sailing, mum and dad as well.
Yep, here. Inclusive, not exclusive, which is probably another little term that will be rocking around quite a bit in the future, I'd say.
Look, yeah, one of the just on that concept, Bicey, like I don't know if you've been to the Royal Brighton Yacht Club in Melbourne. It's basically transformed itself in the last 2 years. The wise powers to be a few years ago decided to redevelop a restaurant, redevelop a working boatyard. It's all about juniors now. Cut the fences down. Basically we don't have
exactly.
Any fences there really.
Get rid of the gates. Exactly.
Get rid of the gates and the big signs, and it's welcome. There's a lot of yacht clubs around the nation that you're not quite sure how to access it, and I think yacht clubs have got to become beacons in their community, not just for sailing, but all water sport activity.
Yeah.
The swimming
and not be intimidating either for that parent to just walk into, just to be as welcoming as possible.
They're also becoming a place of recreation for, as you say, like even examples like the Cruising Yacht Club of South Australia, the CYC of Australia are opening their doors up for the general public, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, Brett, I think for our clubs to survive into the future and going forward for the next 30, 40, 50 years, we've got to look at other streams of revenue, and sailing just won't cut it. You got to open your doors up to the community, get people in there for all different activities, and that's something we're trying to do at our club. And I think, we're a bit of a role model for all clubs in Australia because we're going down a different path at Royal Brighton.
I love the food there.
Yeah, food's fantastic.
Yeah, bloody beautiful.
So, one of the things, because you and I talk about this a lot. One of the things that I wrote down once from one of our conversations is the words practical solutions, not traditional solutions. So obviously what you're talking about there is a new idea. You're looking at things from a different perspective. The other thing I'm interested in is like whether this trend is worldwide. Is our sport diminishing across the world, or are there other countries or places where it's going up? And I mean, you get to meet all the athletes from around the world. Have you had any conversations with other countries just to see what they're doing differently?
Not really. I keep a look on Facebook to what happens around the place with some of the coaches I know, and what Russell Coutts is doing in New Zealand. I know that he's really supportive of this whole sort of fun. They use the Bic Open class in New Zealand, and Russell's a big advocate from what I read. I don't know him personally that well, but he's all about the fun. Whoa, my God! I just had a fox go through the backyard. Crazy, hey? I'm in the middle of St Kilda, Melbourne, and I've got a big fox just walked across the backyard. Crazy. I'll have to lock the doors.
You always find the fox.
Well, you're only 5'7", mate. Be careful.
Well, lucky it wasn't a cougar. This time of the day.
Yeah, straight in Sunday night.
Yeah. So
Lazing on the lounge with a beer in your undies. There goes a cougar.
Yeah, I'll just wrestle it down. That's it. So anyway, to get back on.
Look out for the crocodiles. They'll be around too somewhere.
Oh, there's everything here in Melbourne, especially in St Kilda. But to go back to that question, Jordan, I think there are some parts of the world that are doing it well, and just getting back to that grassroots. The British system, I think. That big Weymouth Sailing Centre down in the bottom of England there, they're just getting kids back into the sport in droves. They just use the simple plastic boats. They're not the traditional pathway boats like the 29er and the 420 and the laser. And I think we've got to look for different alternatives, because the current pathway that world sailing's on is super exclusive. The average 420s, it's $23,000, or a 29er's, probably a similar amount, and a laser's about $12,000. And, the average family with kids, some kids go to private schools, all the pressures of life, you can't afford the pathway that world sailing's sending our sport on. And my challenge for anyone listening to this program today, and any designer out there worldwide, the challenge is to find the next mirror dinghy of 2020. And whoever can design it is going to revolutionise our sport. So there you go.
His name is Jordan Spencer.
Yeah.
Loves being the centre of attention, as the T-shirt said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jordan, are you going to have? I guess you're going to have red sails like a mirror did as well, right? Just to match the sky.
Okay, so AIDS, I'll hit you with my idea, mate. This is because
do you have to wear a broad brim hat with your T-shirt, or
listen, you idiots, just shut up.
Skull 847.
So AIDS.
By the way, I have counted how many you idiots you've said. Do you realise that?
Well, you're an idiot for doing that.
Another one.
848.
Okay, AIDS, here's an idea, because one of the things is you mentioned at the start the Jack Holt boats. You mentioned at the start, mentioned throughout the discussion, this new mirror replacement, right? Which is, I agree 100%. I think about this all the time. Because, for me, sailing was not just going sailing down the yacht club. First off, we had to go in the shed and build the boat. That's what I remember doing that with my dad as a little 6-year-old or 8-year-old or whatever I was. And we'd go in the shed and we'd start assembling this boat. And it was, the stitch and glue methodology. It didn't cost very much. I had no clue. I didn't know it was an uncool boat. It was just what we were doing. And so here's my design idea.
I think there's an app for that these days.
Yeah. Well, being cool.
No, just the stitch and glue. We'll find the stitch and glue app.
Yeah. All right. So here's my idea. It doesn't work perfectly, but it's simple. Imagine if you anyone listening, get an A4 sheet of paper or any sheet of paper that's a rectangle, and then pinch the short ends together, and effectively you've got a boat, right? You've got a hull shape. It's got a really bad rocker profile in it, but this is my idea. So there we go. We're all doing it. I can see Bicey making his. And so what I'm thinking is, could you not just get a
paper?
You could get a sheet of ply or a sheet of foam, and it's got to fit within those dimensions, and then you pull it together and you can cut wedges out of it to create a rocker profile, and then you can have a transom bar, and then you've suddenly got a cheap boat, a little boat like
Taking it to the next level already.
That was my idea of a design. We could actually create a box rule around that, and people could just tinker away, and as long as the ingredients and everything are cheap, BP's got his ready to go. He's got a little wedge. So
No, this is my Hobart trophy.
Oh, your Hobart trophy. Is that for losing the protest?
What, for coming sick?
Oh, AIDS, help me, son.
Starboard.
I've got my transfer bar in. I'm good.
Yeah, Bicey's got a boat. So there you go. So,
I don't mind it. That's good.
yeah, there you go.
What
So
big
the only issue with that is it's got a bad rocker profile, but all you have to do is take a wedge out of the front, and that suddenly kicks
She's
up.
a bit flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we go back to the sort of concept, like worldwide, we have all these kids who start in whatever the little boat is in your region, a Sabo, a P-Class, an Optimist,
Holdfast trainer.
Holdfast trainer, in South Australia only. Yeah,
Flying ant.
you have all these.
Move on
little
up to the
boats.
303s.
Oh, the 303, that's a classic. And so then everyone can afford, your little Opti or your Sabo or whatever it is, your Minnow. But then the next jump, this pathway class, or the pathway that World Sailing's got most classes and national federations on, most families can't afford the pathway, and it's only the rich that survive. So then we narrow down the base of young people who can keep involved in the sport, because every family can't afford a $23,000 420.
Yeah.
If you want to race at the highest level, that's the cost of the boat. Then you've got all your campaigning costs. And, I think one of the jobs for Daniel and Alistair, if they're listening, is we've got to look at this whole regatta schedule of the nation. It's just crazy. Like back in our day, we did 2 regattas basically. You did the Australian National Championships, and you might have done a regatta in Sydney at Easter or wherever your region is. But these days, kids are racing every few weeks at regattas. And
One of the big issues that comes up though here is, okay, it's all good and well, and we love this whole idea of making sure it's accessible, but the pressure on from a global point of view, producing the Matt Belchers and of this sort of world is based on competition, obviously, but making sure that we don't lose. Where is the fine line? My point is between let's get them all out sailing, and then selecting or finding the ones that come through that are actually champions. That's the hard part.
So I want to answer this, BP.
Yeah. Okay.
If you look
Does it matter?
if you look at the region that's produced in Australia, right? Let's just talk Australia now, because where the top sailors in Australia have come from in the last 30 years, they've all come off Lake Macquarie. Yep. Okay. Our standout sailors, the last 30 years, come off Lake Macquarie, particularly over the Toronto Wangi side, right? There's nothing else to do over there. But their boats, they've got these great houses on the water, and the kids come home from school and they push their boats out and they just go sailing, and they go sailing for fun. And you know what?
Yep.
When, one of the big questions I get from parents when I'm doing, coaching is, how do I make my kid better? And I just said, let them have fun. Just go and spend time on the water.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so
It's all about fun.
and I think that's what Adrian's arguing here, is that the more people you get out on the water, you feed the base of the pyramid, and then they all pop out. The good ones will pop to the top.
Sure.
And
100%.
just,
But it's actually keeping an eye on that and managing that. That's the hard part. I think that's what Adrian's talking about. That's the hard part. making sure that it's all aligned on a global level. I mean, Australia didn't have Optimus for years and years and years. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember they
They
were
were
all,
aligned with the world sailing scene.
they were brought in with I've got a mental blank. National coach Victor. I think Victor made that sort of the process. So yeah. So I don't know, it's we wish you luck on that one, mate. I tell you, trying to bring people into the sport is what we want. I think Bar Karate want that. That's definitely one of our motivations for doing this, apart from enjoying a laugh with my mates.
Yeah, 100%. We've got to get more kids involved, and how we do it, I'm not sure yet, but we definitely need more kids at the bottom of the pyramid. And every yacht club in Australia, if you can get 10 more kids into your summer program, that's a whole lot of new members, and we've got to start somewhere. And because all clubs are struggling at the moment for that 10 or 15 kids in their Saturday or Sunday afternoon junior program. It's
as a father, I've got 2 young daughters since I've seen you last, Aid. So that's a long time ago. I've got a 9 and a 6-year-old. Now my 9-year-old has done. She's now through to her TACAs 2, and the TACAs program in Australia, for the international listeners that are here, the TACAs program is based around giving the kids the fundamentals of sailing, and I've thoroughly enjoyed watching and actually being involved in the coaching side of it with my daughter. But the TACAs thing is, we're on the right path, and that's a fact.
Sure, but then the next step is, what do they go into after that? And whether it's hardcore racing, it can't always be racing. Yeah. So
this is it. This is the hard part.
Yeah.
How do you make it? How do you make that step from reaching back and forward and and cruising around with your friends, and then going, okay, now it's time to go and beat that friend.
So what could we, so we know Adrian, I've never called you Adrian, Aids, I can't think of the last time I've called you that. Aids, whether Aids, Paigey and Sarah are going to get together and try and come up with this idea, and obviously our national bodies listening, and all the other ones around the world would be listening. So if people have an idea, did we create that email address yet, boys?
I'm having a few issues with GoDaddy at the minute.
Oh, okay.
For the email address.
Well, maybe we'll put it up as a question on the Facebook page then, and people, if they can think of some ideas, we'll put that up and see if we can create some discussion, because I think every sailor wants more people involved. I think
100%.
Every sailor wants more people. I can't think of anyone that wouldn't. Well, I can think one or two, but yeah. So let's try and help you guys out. And let's work as a global community, because everyone around the world listens to Bar Karate now.
Yep.
And so, we'll see if we can get some ideas. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon it's great, mate.
Hey, Aids. Aids, on that question, is there a global communication platform that goes on? I mean, it's all good and well for us to sit here in Australia and say, look, we need to do this, we need to do that.
It's the Illuminati, BP.
The what?
The Illuminati.
Ah, right. The Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know of anything, Brett. That I haven't heard of anything.
Well,
do you see my point? My point is based on
World Sailing
people from all of the countries talking about this as well. It shouldn't just be Australia talking about Australians. It should be the world talking about the world, realistically.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. The more people we can get in.
All right, that's our goal. That's our goal. Bar Karate.
All right. All right. So what I might do is push this button. What that means is we'll roll onto a couple of little discussion points. Sail Melbourne's just about to start too, isn't it, for you?
Yeah, Sail Melbourne's about to start. We've had a big summer in Victoria with championships going on right across all the clubs in the Bay. They've got the 49er Worlds and the NACRA Worlds down in Geelong, all the laser action up at Sandringham. We just had the Fin Worlds at our club, which was unbelievable to have those guys at our club for sort of 8-12 weeks, some of them. And so good to see Josh Jr. win that Worlds, and
Yeah.
I got to say, to see Josh Junior and Andy Maloney, I made mention to the guys after the regatta. I got them in a quiet moment, and it was a pleasure to watch those guys operate. They just go about their business. They're so professional, and they're mates. They're having fun together. They're tuning partners. They walk down to the club every day, and it was really refreshing to see them helping each other out with their, Olympic fin sailing. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I've never been around a group of guys who get on so well. That whole fin class is, it's a special group of people, and just no issues with them. They were just fantastic.
Cool.
Nice words.
So
Yep.
you'll have some of them for Sale Melbourne. Obviously, they just had the Australian champs on over in Adelaide, but I think most of the top hitters stayed over on the East Coast. So Sale Melbourne is coming up.
So coming up, Sale Melbourne, we've got a bunch of RSX, the windsurfing guys and girls have taken over the club at the moment. They're preparing for Sale Melbourne. They got their Worlds down at Sorrento on the peninsula in a few days. But Sale Melbourne's, it's still big, still ticking away. Wow, back in the day, I think it was 1999. Campbell Rose and Peter Danks were the drivers of that whole Sale Melbourne concept. And
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
And those guys were young, like Danksy and Campbell were young fellas making this whole Sale Melbourne thing happen, and it's great. It's still around today. So
it's almost a global focus now.
Yep. It's had its ups and downs over the years, but it's still ticking away.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll enjoy that. We'll get on to some of those regattas that you've had in a minute, mate. We'll just chat on a couple of issues. Guys, this is for everyone. There's a couple of disasters on the deliveries home from the Hobart race. So Gunrunner, which was a little 30-footer, lost its mast. That's the Australian Army boat. Didn't know the Australian Army had a boat, but they lost their mast. They got hit by 50 knots, I reckon, and blew it out. And then Showtime, which is a Curve 40, on its delivery home, keel fell off. And that was a bit of drama with that one. Did you guys hear about that? Have you seen much?
Most definitely, we did hear about it. And one of the things coming home on InfoTrack was they actually hadn't found the boat. And as far as I'm aware, they still haven't found the boat because of the smoke. We came up into an area that was actually sort of designated of where they think it was with the current and the where they thought it might be. We obviously had to keep an eye out for a rudder because the boat's upside down, obviously.
Yep.
And the rudder was still attached to the boat, but the keel was gone at the just below the hull.
Yeah.
So we were looking out the whole time for a rudder. Luckily, we were in that area in the daytime. But I can tell you, we were on InfoTrack. We were the best part of 3 or 4 miles from Gaybo Island. We come right up into the side of Australia, and we could not see Australia. It was just grey smoke. Yeah, and we had probably, without a word of a lie, we probably had the best part of 200 meters visibility.
Wow.
And we're doing 17, 18 knots with your beautiful old boat, Vicey. And it was a pleasure to sail, I must admit. But it was not, But onto the point of the actual incidents. Look, the Showtime thing, that's got big repercussions, and I don't want to go into that too much. But okay, you can.
Yeah.
The big. Yeah, we will.
Tell me. I don't know. Tell me more. Go on.
So there's two things.
The big point I have, and this is, I guess from a learned, long distance, professional sort of side of attitude towards it is, I think a lot of people take deliveries home in a very relaxed way. Yeah. And it's still the same patch of water that you go down in. Everyone focuses on the race, and then they chuff off home, and it doesn't matter what delivery it is. I mean, you only have to look back a few years ago with Excalibur, same thing. They go and do the race up north. They bring the boat back to Sydney, and the keel snaps off. I mean, it's usually on deliveries that these incidents happen.
It's interesting, isn't it? So, One, the life raft didn't release, so somebody had to swim under the boat to get the life raft, which is not good. But the keel on that boat, according to Kerr Yacht Designs, it was not made by them. It's an aftermarket jobby where the owner did it themselves, where they got a flat plate and then did a T-weld at the right at the top of the keel, and that's where it snapped. So right at that weld, and that's not how you make a keel. So they reckon that's where the fault is, but that's the design house saying that straight up. There's no investigation happened.
Well, he has. I mean, Jason Kerr obviously has done.
But they haven't retrieved the boat, right?
No,
So
that's correct. So
we don't know that.
Yeah. But Jason Kerr has to say
So
the same. Has to say.
It's all alleged.
What he's saying is he didn't.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, he didn't have anything to do with the design of the keel, which is what he's saying. So, look, I guess the point is, in Gunrunner's case, we waited until Monday evening to leave, even on the big boat, and we had a beautiful run. And I can tell you that there was a bunch of boats that left on the Saturday.
Yep.
That got smashed. They got smashed in Bass Strait and
Yep.
ended up in Eden,
which was on fire.
If you can bring a little bit of a sort of a humorous side to Gunrunners losing their mast, I heard they got into Eden and then got evacuated.
Yeah, they did. They got bunched up to Mandurah, I think. So, yeah, the army guys come into Eden, and the Navy guys shipped them up to Mandurah.
Yeah. So look, again, it comes down to in this industry or in this in the yachting side of things, making sure that the deliveries are taken as seriously as the racing. I mean, that's just something that's really important.
No, mate. Yeah, let's face it though. You're not predicting your rig's going to fall down or your keel's going to fall off though, right?
No, that's right.
No, you're not.
Regardless if you're racing or delivery. So.
And what was the precaution? Sorry, boss.
No, but of course, you probably don't have as experienced crew on board to deal with it. But fortunately, everyone's safe. So
yeah, that's right. Everyone's safe.
It's a good result.
Interesting point, Vicey. Like, the deliveries are often where the younger people, less experienced people, cut their teeth in our great sport of ocean racing. They get the opportunities, and it's a great platform for people to get that sea miles under their belt.
We all did.
We all have.
Yep.
We've all been in that situation. But I think, Brett's point of, not having as much energy put towards the delivery as the race, it's a pretty interesting point, because everyone sort of relaxes and they go, oh, we've made it to Hobart, and now we've got the delivery, and we'll just put the delivery sails on, and if you want to call it the B team, and they're often maybe underskilled a little bit. So it's something to think about.
Very true. BP, were your cautions on InfoTrack? You obviously planned around the weather and you kept a reef in the main by the looks of it, but you still went triple head sails, the whole thing. You put a good video up on our site if people want to have a look at that. They look like fun.
It's a very funny story. I was sort of roaming around Hobart. I don't know if you know, I was roaming around Hobart with no real purpose.
Fixed a boat, just hanging out in parks.
So I sort of didn't know how I was going to get home. I didn't know quite what I was going to do. My wife and my kids, hello to them, the beautiful people. They're over in Spain, so I've got a month sort of, to do sort of pretty well what I want. And I just mentioned to Bradshaw Kell, I said, Bradshaw, you know what? Is there room for me to come back on the boat? He went, yeah, mate, good, all good. I said, no worries, so I hopped on the boat. We get on the boat, and he says, yeah, you're the 14th. There was a 13th guy, but you're the 14th. Come on you get, no worries. We get down there on the Monday. We were supposed to leave in the morning. Get down on the Monday, and there's 19 of us.
Oh.
We sailed home with 2 watches of 9 and Bradshaw floating.
Oh,
I've never been on.
Busier than Bondi Station.
And this is where it all goes, because they were everyone was a cool bunch of people, and it was a really cool trip home. We never saw above 25 knots, but it was always really lovely sailing, and managed to make some good friends out of it. It was good.
Cool. Good
19. Yeah, that's a proper footy team.
That's
There
it.
you go.
Yeah, you could have had a kick and a catch.
Proper as in AFL, that is. But
Yeah, that's right. Almost a full race crew, and I ended up taking a couple of them out sailing today on the X, and so we could go through that if you wanted to.
you done the Hobart 8?
Yeah, mate, I won it in
What?
2001. I'm retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's a crazy race. I only did it a few times, spewed up a few times, and went, this ocean sailing's not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a wise man, Age. You know what you want and you know what you're good at, and just don't push those boundaries. Yeah.
2001 on Bumblebee, I got the late call up. I think it was a day before the race, and
with the squared and the Sabi.
Yep. And I literally had 24 hours to get to Sydney and go sailing, and I thought, wow, this Hobart stuff's easy. I fly in and I win, and that was it. So,
Call it.
so
Job done.
I think
Cross
I've
that off
never
the bucket
done.
list.
Yep. Did that. Tick.
Yep. Good man. That's it. It's as simple as that. I don't know what everyone else whinges about.
Yep.
Yeah, you legend. All right, well, let's move on. Enough Hobart. We've talked Hobart to death.
Yes, we have.
BP, you're not happy about America Cup
No.
AC win limits, the America's Cup win limits. What is your problem, mate?
Well, because it was in, I think it was in 2003 they mentioned this. They were towing the boats back in 20 knots, and they had the Opties out there still sailing in 25 to 35 knots of wind.
Yeah.
For me, I'm all for technology. I love it. I know all this America's Cup stuff is wonderful, but at this level, I think the boats should be able to sail in.
Well, but they haven't agreed to win limits yet.
No,
But the K1s are the ones who want it high limits, right?
The K1s, the Kiwis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
K1W ones, that is.
there was rumour of 19 knots was the cutoff.
No,
I don't think so.
negative.
No.
You've got the wrong mail, mate.
Yeah. I'm certain it's going to be higher than everyone wants. I'm sure
26, 28 knots, right?
I want to see it. I want to see it.
Well, I reckon that's what the Kiwis are doing.
Otherwise, you're not sailing at that time of year in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Well, this is the truth.
That's the mail I've heard. The Kiwis are pushing for a higher limit than everyone else wants.
The funniest part is an AC boat under tow going past a fleet of Opties. It's too windy for us.
Yeah.
Hey, talking
Kids
about
out there.
Can we change the subject to Opties again, boys?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Do it.
You're the guest.
Talking about Opties, I had the pleasure to meet and shake Joel Beechel's hand the other day.
Yeah.
I think the youngest sailor in Australia ever to win an Opti Nationals.
Right.
Mm.
And mate,
11, right? 11 years old?
11 years old. He's racing kids who are 12, 13, 14 with like exponential amount of experience, and he's gone out and just cleaned the slate. And you couldn't have seen a prouder dad than Adam Beechel and Uncle Colin there at the Royal Brighton Yacht Club, and little Joel.
How many coach boats did they have out?
I was going to say.
One at the top mark, one at the bottom mark, one on the pin end, one at the boat end.
I don't think they've got too many. They've got a great coach in a guy, Robbie Brewer, up in Sydney. Rob's great with the kids in the Opti. And, man, you couldn't get a prouder dad than Adam. It was awesome to see. He was just as proud as punch.
Yeah.
And, wow, that little guy, Joel, he's got a massive future. When you come from a boat building family that's just steeped in performance sailing, and they've just won everything on the planet, that little guy's going to be the superstar of Australian sailing in the future, I reckon.
Yeah, we wondered.
And he
might be the showdown between Marco and Joel. Yeah.
Oh, that would
little Italian, mate. Yeah.
That would be a good look. I'd be looking forward to the Opti Worlds.
He told me he was off to the Flying Ant Nationals. Not sure if you know, but Adam might be part of the revolution. He's built this fantastic flying ant that is one design, and all the kids love it. And if it's cost effective, it'd be a great little boat for our nation to get kids into the sport.
Hasn't he got something going on in Sydney Harbour where you basically they just shoot around from club to club, pick up kids along the way, and make it a just to bring that fun element back into it?
Yeah,
is that right?
I think I saw Adam about maybe a year ago or 18 months ago, and he had his little flying out. He'd just finished it. He was up there at Lake Macquarie, and the greatest thing he just had the kids out there sailing the little boat, the flying out. It's like a miniature, for the overseas viewers, it's like a miniature 18-foot skiff, but it's a tiny little boat. And he just had the speed puck on it, and all the kids were doing was trying to see who could get to the...
Who can go fastest?
Who could go the fastest, and
Yeah.
the kids were loving it. It was nothing about racing or, getting coached or going around marks. It was all about who could go the quickest.
Yeah.
And, what a formula. And little Joel, he's loving it. So big shout out to the Beashel family for what they're doing up there at Lake Macquarie.
Yeah, good man. Actually, I'll have to talk to you offline about my little pursuit race idea, Aid. So we reckon that a lot of the kids will love that one. So fitting in with what you just said. But, yeah, we did see Joel win, and that was pretty impressive. Cool. Good work, mate. BP.
No.
BP.
Oh, he's on again.
He's on again. Come back to the microphone.
What?
The question is, what yacht are we buying this week? Well, you're not going to buy a yacht. You're going to design, build, and change. You're going to revolutionise the offshore world. What's going on?
Well, I have asked for some input from you blokes.
Yep.
And I see in your little notes here that the response from that question it's going to cost me a lot of money.
So let's clarify.
$1 million.
So
$1
BP sent us a note during the week, boys. Let's take control of this double-handed offshore thing. I'm going to do the Hobart next year in the double-handed boat that we're going to design and build, and it's just going to be the perfect little thing. Let's get the right boat so everyone in Australia's got a great boat to go offshore in.
Let's be absolutely brutally honest right now. Yes, I want to get involved with the double-handed sailing in Australia, and yes, I want to do the double-handed in the Hobart.
Yep.
And yes, I would like to launch an Olympic campaign. That's
Mate,
the
He's
Nick
called
Maloney's
it.
got it all covered.
Maloney's going, yeah, you're
Mate,
up against him.
You're not 50 yet, are you, BP? You're not allowed to enter. Lonesy, Barney.
Going to be old.
I'm 47, so I'm getting there.
You'll be there by 24 then. Who are you going to sail with?
Hey, listen.
Who have you picked? Is it Liz? Is it Stacey? Or is it Nina Curtis? They're your three choices, I reckon.
I've got my crew, and you all know her very well. But I'm going to leave it up to you guys to work that one out.
Is it your daughter?
She had no.
Yeah, are you sailing a heron to Hobart?
She's agreed, and we're looking at moving forward. But look, the point is that yes, I do want to. I think this double-handed
Malarkey. Is that the word?
fleet is going to explode. I'm excited. I'm excited because I love short-handed sailing. You know that.
So, we being sympathetic and helpful blokes, because he wrote us a note saying, how do we do it? The response back was
AIDS, are you there, mate?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah. So sympathetic and what was the word you said? Sympathetic and what?
supportive.
Understanding.
Understanding.
Have charged me $1 million for their advice.
Yeah.
That's, hey, I'll coach you for nothing.
Oh, beautiful.
So all I'm saying is take the Super 60, scale it down to 30 foot, and away you go. There you go. That'll be $1 million. There we go. Problem solved.
Yep. All over it.
There you go.
Job done, tick.
So no hints as who you're sailing with?
Can't tell you.
Do they have to have a sex
Are you
change first?
waiting for a formal announcement, or?
There will be a formal announcement.
Okay, cool.
And I believe.
Do you want to put a date on it? Do you want to put a date on it?
Well, it depends on what happens with the design process, which I'm going through right now for my little boat.
Okay.
I had a chat today with some very important people.
What's that got to do with an Olympic campaign?
Well, because it's all relative.
Look.
So it's a relative. It's your cousin. Right.
So let's just put it.
Bicey, that's normal in South Australia.
Oh.
yeah.
AIDS.
Yeah.
So
Relative humidity.
Okay,
we all
but-
know what that is.
And he's just been down in Tasmania as well, so I don't know. Right, so BP.
Yes.
One, the Australian Sailing hasn't actually made any decision on what the boat's going to be out of Australia to qualify into the Olympics, because we know the Olympic boat doesn't get named till a few months before the Olympics, but the boat that you qualify in each region, they choose their own boat. So that boat hasn't been chosen in Australia, and they haven't even written the framework around what that boat will look like. They reckon it won't be till the end of this year that they know that. So you've got a year.
Correct.
You've got a year.
Correct.
And you've got a boat.
And it'll
You've
be
already
simple.
got a boat.
Yeah, you've got a boat. It's
Yeah,
a bit,
that's only the 26 footer. You
Yeah.
can't go in the Hobart with that.
and it will be simple. So they won't be doing the
Just
Olympics
bump
with
it.
like
Just bump it. Bump it, mate. You'll be right.
Just whack a transom on it.
we'll
Hey,
call
hey,
it
guys,
Hey,
just
we'll call it Wild K8.
I'm going to bring it back one notch.
Oh yeah,
Do we think this is good for our sport?
yeah.
Like, is it?
yeah, well, that was a question I was actually going to ask you, Aids. What do you think? For me as an offshore sailor, and look, I like it.
I think it's pretty cool.
Very good.
The more women we can get involved in our sport right across the board, the better our sport's going to be. So whatever we can do to get great girls sailing boats and more involved in the sport, it's a good thing all round. So
Good
bring
man.
it on.
We agree.
Is there any? I I don't really get into the Olympics too much. I mean, I get into the Olympic sailing a little bit, but I don't follow any others of the sports. Is there any other cross? Where you've got male and females competing for the same prize?
No.
So in other words, no, there's not. So
No.
it's the first event ever.
Well, we'll say,
Do they have
based on the latest bloody rules that are going
actually, curling. In the curling, you can have mixed teams in curling.
Yeah, maybe bobsled. Do they have mixed bobsledding?
No, not mixed bobsledding, but they have mixed curling. I'm sure they got mixed curling. I don't know how they.
That's winter games. They struggle with bobsledding in the summer games.
Yeah. I know it's winter games, and there's an obvious joke about using the broom and who uses the broom in curling that I am not touching because I don't want to be done. But yeah, I think there are
again. There's a couple of big chicks just brooming down.
Oh, from Ireland.
Let's move on. So, just the only other point I make, BP, is that it's really simple electronics on board as well. So keep it cheap, buddy, is what I'll say. Keep it cheap.
Mate, I'm already all over it. I've got to say, this smoke today's really affected me. I'm coughing a little bit. But the boat itself is going to be a very simple boat. And the only reason I'm looking at designing a boat with the guys from FARS is because you've got to be seen it moving. You've got to be seen it being involved. You've got the Delaires, you've got the Sunfast 32,000, what's it called? The 3200.
Yep.
You've got the Genots. You've got all these boats. You've got all these guys that have... the market has all of a sudden opened up for them. These boats have already been designed.
Yep. They'll be expensive to get to Australia. So, the only thing that's going to beat those big
Sure.
builders is to come in under their cost and have it locally produced. It's hard. It's going to be a hard road, bud.
What we can
It
do
always is a hard road.
Aids has
Go
got
on,
it.
Aids.
Here we go.
to make it cost effective is just round up all those Hood 23s on swing moorings in Sydney Harbour and just allocate each boat, give it an anti-foul, allocate each boat, and away you go. Hood 23s.
I've got an idea. Everyone, grab a piece of A4 paper. Pitch the short side.
That's it.
Well, that's a nice looking boat.
Grab a
it looks-
pencil. Create a transom bar.
That actually looks very similar to the KA.
You can adjust the width. Yeah, no, it's good.
You idiot.
And then Bicey just grab any relative.
Scalp. Exactly.
Go on.
Actually,
He wants to
BP,
say it. He wants to say it.
I'm going to announce the challenge. So Bicey and I are going offshore because he sits down to pee. So he is the female on the. So we'll be challenging.
Okay. Well, let's do it.
Okay. No. I think it's a great.
Actually-
AIDS question's a really good one. Like, is it good? I agree, it's good, and for the exact same reason
Yes.
you said, Adrian, which is more women
I
in
tell
the
you,
sport.
I was speaking to a couple of guys today because we had a meeting today about it, and one of the things that came up was from their side was that this is going to be an event that goes for a couple of days. It's going to be a couple of day race, right?
Yep, that's right.
That's what they're saying, and this means that I can watch the Olympics 24 hours a day for those 2 days.
That's right. That's the
And I
whole
can
plan
get
behind it.
Fully focused. It's the first time ever.
Mhm.
I mean, you can watch the marathon, the running. I mean, that's all good and well. But if you have the slightest inkling of competition, you're going to get involved in this. Now, I pledge that it's up to the sailing powers to be to push that as a promotion or a marketing point towards the 2024 games.
Well, they
I
will,
would
don't
love
you
to
worry.
see them.
Yeah, they will. Absolutely.
Well, I hope so.
All right.
I mean, we all know how exciting yachting is to watch. Let's watch it for 3 nights and 4 days.
Mark Karate will be commentating, so it'll be good.
For 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we'll go non-stop.
Well, non-stop,
Non-stop.
sitting in the couch.
AIDS is just continually walking around his house. I'm just getting like.
I'm just packing the
Bullshit.
beer fridge. I've got a party coming up.
Yeah, that's it.
I was
All
going
right.
to say you got to put the code zeros on, ready to hit Cougar Town.
Let's
Has there been any more foxes run past?
come on.
No,
Let's-
he's lost. That guy was lost. He should have been out in the forest. That little guy.
Okay, I'm going to speed us up in a couple of areas here. Okay, we've gone off the rails a little bit. Any secret pro news that we can talk about?
Negative.
Negative.
What about this,
Nothing this week.
Okay, here we go. What about the clean out at Ineos?
We've been keeping that one quiet.
Yeah. We took a pledge that would only give positive news.
Now I'm looking.
So we've had. So reality is our secret pro is kind of we've had to cull quite a lot, to tell you the honest truth.
I just heard about that at the local yacht club. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not
that was
secret.
about six weeks ago.
Yeah.
They had the
There you
big
go.
cull.
We didn't want to. We're trying to be positive about everything, Adrian. So we didn't mention that one. But people can hear it at the local yacht club. Yeah.
I have a young Nathan Quirk coming to my house next weekend for a beer. So. I'll let you know.
BP, you're getting the K8 ready for the Australian Sports Boat Championships. When are they?
I certainly am. 16th of February to the 20th of
Okay.
February in Toronto and Lake Macquarie.
Now, what's this stuff about us sponsoring them? We don't make any money. What are we sponsoring people for?
No, they're going to get a terry toweling hat, a stubby cooler, and a T-shirt.
Are they? We don't even get
Yeah.
that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's stuffed me up. What am I going to do now? I've got the bow stickers organised.
Oh, good. All right. Apparently, we're sponsoring an event. Well, I don't know why, but good on them.
How many boats we got rolling up?
At the moment, they're looking at mid-teens, so
Right.
it's a good
Yes,
event.
good.
Cool.
That will be a cool event
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
Lake
good time.
Macquarie as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about bringing fun back to sailing. These blokes and ladies that are involved in this particular class are just people that love their sailing. They get out there in their they have little ideas and they put it all together. There is a bit of a handicap situation going on, and obviously, fair or unfair doesn't matter. It's about this class is about going out there and just sending your idea. So we're looking forward to it.
Cool.
We're going to take
Yeah,
the X
good.
up there and give her a bit of a run.
We'll give them a bit of a plug. Anyway, but just if you're wanting Baccarat to sponsor your event, don't come to us because we don't make any money.
No, but you get a terry toweling hat and a T-shirt and a stubby cooler.
Well, I don't know where they're coming from, BP.
I'll look after this one. It's all
Oh,
right. It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
organised.
All right, let's move on. All right,
But yes, can I just give that a big plug? So the Australian Sports Boat national titles, Toronto, Lake Macquarie, February 16th to 20th. We'll keep that covered and
and you're
looking forward
sailing
to it.
in the
I'm
X.
sailing, yes,
In the X.
yes, the
Right.
X. I'm going to take the X up.
Cool. Watch out for the sharks on the keel there. There's a lot of sharks to hit, and the razorfish. That's fun up there. All right, let's speed through some quick results because we've chewed up a lot of time being idiots. International 14s, world champs. Congrats to Archie Massey and Harvey Hillary. Archie winning again. It's good work. It was Poms in the top three positions. So Daniel Holman, Alex Knight, and then Neil Jones, Edwards, and still Neil Jones and Edward Fitzgerald, the top three. So congratulations there in the 14s. In the 5.5s, you remember last week John Bacon, our guest, talked about the Evolution Regatta, and he actually won the Worlds again in the Evolutions. So congratulations to him. And overall, Kristen Neergaard and Johan Barn were the overall winners in Artemis 14. So a big congrats to them. And then the three teams we predicted as the top teams, I know the top two were Holoweski and Pete Vlasov in second, so they were the Bahamian team into second. And then Pete Morton.
Bahamian team.
Yep, and the Pommy team
cool one.
Of Pete Morton and Andrew Palfrey. When did he become a Pom? Dog.
Now, since he's lived in the UK for about the last 20 years.
I thought but he's always over here coaching. Oh, well. Anyway, congratulations.
English dad.
Congratulations to those guys. So move on quickly from there. In the lasers. The lasers. So that was a pretty great performance from Matty Wern. So the West Australian lad having a nice clean win there, beating Sam Meach from New Zealand and George Gautry from New Zealand, and then Thomas Sanders from New Zealand, and then Nick Thompson from Great Britain, and then Charlie Buckingham from there's Mitch Kennedy from Australia. So a lot of overseas lookers into that one, but looks like Matt Wern's on fire, so that's good. And then in the radials, Mariette Bouwmeister taking it out from Maxine Jonker. So two Dutch ladies at the top, and then a young lad, Bridie Riley, is up there. But the first Australian female was Mara Stransky. Do you know her age, Mara?
I do know Mara, yeah. Great young girl from Macleay Island, I think.
Yep.
Is the island just off of Brisbane there. Her and her mum and dad, they live on a big cruising catamaran. Really, really cool people.
Yep,
So Mara,
I agree. I like her a lot. I reckon her talent's good.
She's a great individual.
So
It's just really cool how they live on their boat and sail the boat to the regattas.
Yeah, and they did have their boat down there for this regatta.
Yeah, they were moored in our club at Royal Brighton.
Oh, fantastic.
And parents were living on the boat. Mara had,
nice
ride a
food
bike
there.
to and from Sandy Yacht Club.
Yeah.
All good. Great family.
All right, good work. Now one for you, Aids. You've been watching all week. Tell us about the Australian Etchell Champs because there's it's unbelievable, unbelievable. So
it's pretty cool event.
Well, the team that came second at the Worlds won, and the team that won the Worlds came second. So that's the first thing to talk about.
Yeah, well, I think the whole program is so identical. Those first two boats.
Yep.
They look the same. They're sailed the same. They're the same layout. You've got great sailors in them. They're just duking it out at the front of the fleet.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was fantastic to watch. But I think some of the big news in that whole fleet, because there's a lot of talk in the Etchells at the moment regarding the boats and the professionalism at the front of the fleet. And we had some great Corinthians, Mark Johnson and his team from South Australia. Mark won 2 races, I think.
Mark
Colin
Roberts.
Mark Roberts, yep.
Yep. From Malang.
Yes, yep.
Wow.
Kerwin Robb.
Is that
Kerwin
right?
Robb.
Yep.
Yeah. 2 races Mark won.
From Malang.
Mark's
Okay, so
been putting in a lot.
does anyone know which boat, like what genre boat has he got? Because that's a pretty
I
impressive
think Mark's
effort.
got just a Heritage, I think.
Wow.
SAR numbers 1444, Fu Manchu.
Yep.
For those people who don't understand, when I keep saying Malang, there's probably 12 people live in Malang. It's
11.
Yeah, it's like the tiniest country town on a river in the middle of sort of South Australia. So yeah, I just want to point that out.
Mark, he's been really putting in a lot of hard work in the Etchells in the last few years, and it really has been paying dividends. So, I've watched Mark. He's been flying over from South Australia to come club racing in Melbourne.
That's super impressive. Super impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool. And,
Yeah.
another boat to mention, Kerwin Robb out of Hobson's Bay over at the other side of the bay.
Yep.
He had a young fellow, I forget his name, but 11 years old.
Josh
in the
Garner?
bow. That's it, Josh Garner from
Yep.
down at Geelong. So in the Etchell fleet, we're starting to see this youth group come through. We've got a lot of young people in the fleet, a lot of girls. So it's really cool to see outside that top level of the professional sailor.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, it's actually probably not a bad class, is it? Really, to step these kids into, because
it can be,
I mean,
yep.
look at you can sail 4 up with a really light bow person and a really light mid bow person. So that's not a bad idea, is it?
no.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, Brett. And I think a lot of people they got to look at these types of boats, Etchells, J24, whatever they are. They're pretty cost effective to pick up second-hand ones and go yachting with your mates.
Yep.
Pick up an Etchell for $10,000, cheaper than a 420.
Oh, so just on the overall results, so Graham Taylor won, sailing with James Mayo and a new bloke.
That guy, what's his name?
Slangsby.
New to sailing, yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
Tim Slangsby.
Tim Slamsy.
Yeah. So Slingsby, he can't lose a regatta at the moment. So
Do you think he's getting bored of winning?
no, not a chance. He's too competitive. But anyway, GT and his team won against Ian Murray, Colin Beashall, Richard Allenson. So that was a good battle in there. Those 2 AM boats, which is what Aids is talking about. Then John Bertrand with Noel Drennan and Jake Lilly. That's a hell of a team there as well in third. So that's there you go. So hold Mark Roberts, hey, what a performance! So that would have been fun to watch, Aids.
Oh, really fun to watch. The level of racing was really high. As you can see by the race wins, it was really not one boat dominating for the whole event. Just great to see those Corinthians get up there and mix it up and win some races.
Yep.
So, the old Etchell boat that you can pick up for, $15,000 to $18,000 is still competitive. The Barry boys, Damien King in the old 924, I think Damien was really competitive still. So, yeah, it's a cool class to be involved with.
Barry's still going strong.
Yeah, it's an old boat.
I was in the Palace. I was in the Palace on Friday night, my beloved, and I was having a chat to Gardo, as an Etchell sailor that he is, and he's saying that the difference at the moment is the modes that these new boats have got. That, they can just turn it on when they need to turn it on, and that's the difference.
Yeah, just be careful of what you hear around the bar. They love talking it up, but when you get out, when you get out there and you watch them, the old boats are still fine.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, cool.
And the new equipment, it's being used by some of the best sailors in the planet, so obviously it's going to be quick. But I think it's interesting. I listen to this talk all the time as a coach. You hear it around the dock, and it's not what you see on the water. It's the human element that's making those boats go fast. It's not the boats or the gear. You put Ian Murray and Colin Beashall or GT and Slingsby in one of those older boats, and they'll go just fine.
Big names, aren't they?
Yeah. I think.
What about Jordan Spencer and Nick Rice?
Oh, that'd be fine.
Well, we're yet to announce our Etchell campaign.
Yeah, I was just
we're
thinking.
doing the VX, we're doing the Windsurfers, we're doing the Sharpies. We've got a few on our plate.
We've got a few break regattas coming up. It's just another regatta that's at Royal Brighton starting this week. I think we need to mention probably the second most important regatta of the year starts this week at Brighton, Royal Brighton. I don't know if you guys, have I ever mentioned 505s before?
I've won one of them too, mate.
I know. With Big Goose on the wire.
Big Goose. Oh, boat.
Yeah, AIDS, he's won plenty of different classes. So, yeah, the 505 Nationals, which are second, of course, the most important regatta in the world is the 505 World Championship. But if you're interested in the 50s, I just had to get that joke in there because obviously I'm a bit biased. But, yeah, that'll be something for people to watch.
Hey, well, can I tell you a little story?
Yeah, bud.
Nah.
Do it.
We like your story.
Two of the lads at the yacht club, they asked me to do some coaching in the 50, and so we went out, and he said, "Oh, this is Mike Holt's boat from the Worlds, and this is how we set it up." And I'm like, "Oh, that's good." And so they just weren't pulling anything on hard enough, and I just said, "Keep pulling all those strings on, like there's a million strings in a 505," and he didn't want to touch anything because that's how Mike Holt sailed it. And I'm like, "Well, Mike Holt's one of the best dinghy sailors in the world, but what I'm seeing, mate, you got to pull the Cunningham on."
Yeah.
So I had the moral of the story is I had a great session with these 50 guys who are out there battling away in the big chop, and we had a great evening, and I even got to sail one for 15 minutes or so, and what a boat, the 505. Incredible.
There you go. Yeah. I haven't sailed very much.
Send out a special mention. I'd like to send out a special mention at the moment, if you don't mind, for the 50s. Snowdy and Robbie Doosan are having a sail.
Yep. Good luck to them.
Hearing how they go, we might be able to finally get Robbie Doosan on the show if we can lock in with Snowdy, because Snowdy actually has some technology.
Yeah. Can't rely on Fritz to turn anything on.
We could do a dual interview.
The irony is Fritz is a precision grinding company. He makes all these precision one-off parts for like warships and submarines and stuff, and he can't turn on his phone.
He's beauty. So I spoke to Snowdy the other day, and good luck to him and good luck to Deuce, and obviously they're putting a pretty solid campaign together over the next couple of years. So good luck to them.
All right, let's move on. We're nearly finished, boys. So, AIDS, you'll be able to jump down to the local pub in a minute. If you want to contact us, reach out on Instagram, Facebook, or the Bar Karate website. So we'll put up, what were we going to put a post up before about ideas for getting more people into sailing?
Grassroots.
Yep. So what I reckon, we'll hold that other question we thought about over till next week.
Yeah, we'll transfer that one till next week.
Yep. Yeah, let's do that.
And this week's all about grassroots.
Okay, grassroots. Great. AIDS, we're not going to get rid of you just yet, but we're just about in the final sign-off phase. So just thanks for your input, mate. It's been great chatting to you, or as it always is, bud.
Fantastic, guys. And, I haven't seen some of you guys for a few years, and you're all looking amazing still. Brett, Bicey, you're still great-looking young fellas.
Mate, you don't have to start practicing your lines just because you're heading down to the local.
Yeah, well, I just can't believe how good-looking you blokes are.
Yeah, here we go.
And what about that? What about that Jordan guy?
No, don't worry about that.
Oh, Geordie's he's one of the best, mate. I see him semi-regularly.
Yeah, we get on great.
Semi.
Oh, here we go. Oh dear.
It's been a real pleasure, but I just want to finish off with we got to have a revolution in the sport, mate. We got to get kids involved, and we've got to make it more cost effective, or else we're not going to be sailing around in little dinghies anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a big challenge for everyone around the world.
Yeah,
good one, mate.
Let's make it an effort that even here, just in our little way at Bar Karate, we can try and get that point across. So
let's start the debate.
Keep in touch with you. We'll keep in touch with you, and we'll keep in touch with the world, and we'll try and make it happen on a global level.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
Start
Great work, guys. Thanks for having me.
Always, mate. Always.
Thanks, AIDS.
See you guys.
See you, buddy.
Cheers,
nice
mate.
house. Nice house, by the way.
Yeah. Lovely.
I'm house sitting.
It's lovely.
Okay.
Drank all their beers. Let the pet fox out.
Oh, mate. It's classic. Okay, see you guys.
See you, bud.
See you, mate.
All right, so, boys, I asked last week, true or false, we know that in a survival situation, if you were to drink seawater, it would rapidly dehydrate you and soon lead to your death. However, I allege that you would survive if you ate frozen seawater. And the answer to that is true. It's vastly less harmful to eat frozen seawater because it contains 1/10 of the amount of salt in its liquid form, because the salt crystals are separated from the water when freezing. So, because that crystalline structure doesn't fit into ice. So there you go. If you've run out of water, just freeze it and away you go. The question for this week, true or false? So this is the statement. Beer was not considered an alcoholic beverage in Russia till 2013. True or false?
Well, that explains it, doesn't it?
I don't know. Is it true or false? To help you with your thoughts, though, here is a fact. Until the 1970s in Belgium, beer was served in school refectories.
Oh, could you imagine it?
It's crazy. All right.
Boss is going down the cafeteria to get some drinks.
Well, I think Bice has lost his microphone, so talk. He's got nothing.
His lips are moving, but I can't hear what you're saying.
This is our favourite moment ever. Favourite moment ever. He's just dropped out. All right, BP. Bice, yep, that's where it's been an absolute pleasure. Good to speak to you, blokes.
Sign language to Bice. See you guys.
See you later.